Hello, everybody. Welcome to the National Parents Union Nightly Restorative Check-in. Thank you so much for being with us tonight. Today is Wednesday, March 31st of 2021. I am, as always, your host, Marisol Quevedo Rerucha. And as always, I want to take this moment to introduce myself. I am the mother to Camerina, who is 27 years old, Emilia, who is 25, and the mother of my grandbabies, Sofia, who is 15 and is a sophomore slash junior in high school. I am the daughter to Irma and Abraham. I am the proud, happy grandmother to Isabella Luna, who is 4, Cynthia Ileana, who just turned 1, and Lorenzo Martin, who is a month old, almost 5 weeks. And I am the very proud granddaughter of Camerina Rodriguez Castro, Alejandro Castro, Carmen Bedoya Quevedo, and Francisco Quevedo. I know I always say it, but I'm going to say it again. I always introduce myself in that way because it grounds me and it reminds me where I come from and why I am who I am. And it also reminds me that my work and really like who I am in all spaces, I'm not who I am on my own. I am the product of so much love and so much challenge and so much wisdom and so much pain and trauma and so much joy and happiness. And I really, really believe that my ancestors, my elders, they prayed for me. They prayed for who I am in this world. And so it's with a lot of honor and respect that I introduce myself in that way. And I also reminds me like why I'm here to do what I do, why I'm here to be who I am. And that's for our future ancestors, for our children. And one of my beloved elders, my Mama Tony, is here. Hi, Mama Tony. Thank you for always being here. I have a very, very quick announcement to make. Hi, Olga. I'm so happy that you're here again to see your beautiful daughter, who will be coming on with us today. So today is going to be our last show. And I spoke with Dr. Anjali yesterday, and what we're seeing is that a lot of people are getting back out into the world, and people are tired of looking at their screens. And so we're going to take a break, and we are going to look at restructure the show. We want to both keep doing it. So we will be back, but it will not be 3 nights a week. We don't know what it's going to be yet. So we're taking some time off to figure that out. So we will be back to you. And I have a beautiful graphic that Anjali put together that I want to share with you. Let me see if I can figure out how to share it. And if I can't figure it out, please just make sure that you are looking at the, keep continuing to check us out on Facebook, both individually and also, here we go, and also follow the National Parents Union, because we will make sure to have this shared at the National Parents Union. So let me show you really quick if you can see this. So we are going to be gone for a few weeks. We're prepping for season 3. And we're ending the individual episodes. Come back in a couple of weeks and we will have a new and improved format for you. So we're both excited. We've started sharing the ideas of what this is going to be, and we're excited. So, and I cannot tell you how happy I am to have the last show. And I have been doing the show for over a year. I have not counted recently, but I'm sure we're definitely over just the shows that I have done, over 170 shows. And so how beautiful to have this final show be with 2 people who I love and I respect so very much. So it couldn't have happened better if I had planned it. So with that, we're going to do our breathing technique. 4, 7, 8. So if you remember, we inhale for 4 seconds, we hold for 7, and we release for 8. And we do this 4 times. So I will guide you. Your job is to breathe. If at any time it feels like it's too much, it's too little, like just go ahead and go back to your regular pattern and try to join in again on the next round. And this is a really, really great technique it's actually people who suffer from anxiety use it. I use it for absolute relaxation. I use it to transition. And I'm going to say hello to my mom. Hi, Mama. Um, and so we're getting ready to do the breathing technique. So if you could please put your feet solidly on the ground, close your eyes and just exhale out. And inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, release, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Thank you so much for joining in on our breathing technique. Please, please, please remember to do this. So Dr. Anjali and I are going to be back, and we're going to hopefully be back with more techniques. So I saw she had commented here, Dr. Anjali, we're going to miss you all, but we're going to come back bigger and better. Let us know what you would like to see on the new show. Thank you for that reminder. And also, we're planning on doing the show together. So that's something that I'm looking forward to, is having both of us doing the show at the same time. So any ideas that you have, please feel free to send them to us on Facebook, to email them to us. Also on all social media, you can find us, on Twitter, on Instagram, on all of the things, on LinkedIn, and let us know. Okay. So Dr. Anjali, let me go ahead and put you. And so I have two guests tonight. I'm going to bring on our first guest, Marla Fernandez. And Marla, give me 1 second. Let me up here. Let me turn.
Everyone.
So Marla, you have not been on the show yet, but I know that you have watched the show. And please, 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 what I would like you to do is introduce yourself and share anything that you would like as a way of introduction.
Well, first of all, I want to thank you, Marisol, for inviting me and on your last show. So thank you so much, and I'm glad to have Cynthia join us as well, since we have been partners in crime in the past. So my name is Marla Fernandez, and I am retired for about a year and a half since last January, and I was in education for 34 years. I was always a bilingual teacher, literacy coach, resource teacher for a dual language program, assistant principal. That's where I was fortunate enough to meet Marisol. We were both assistant principals together in South Bay. And then the last part of my career, I was a principal at 2 elementary schools for South Bay, which I was so proud to lead the school. I learned so much about myself. Personally, I married later in life. So I just celebrated my 4-year wedding anniversary on February 11th. I'm married to a wonderful, handsome Irishman, and so we've been doing well, and now through this pandemic, we've been doing a lot more things together. Well, I have a lot more free time. So, and then not only that, but I'm also a daughter and a sister and an aunt, godmother. And I think godmothers have a special place on this earth. There's a saying that says that when you baptize a child, you get closer to heaven. And I'm like, whoa, then I must be really close, because I have a lot of godchildren. Other than that, I mean, I just currently right now I'm just taking it easy and hanging out with friends and family, and ready to go on to the next chapter in my life.
I have to tell you, like the honor of being a godparent, like that to me is such a huge deal because it's somebody saying, like, if anything were to happen to me or
Mm-hmm.
if I'm not doing right by my kids, like you have the authority to come in and have that conversation with me, or also like, to take my place if needed. What I mean, how
Right.
tremendously beautiful that so many people deem you worthy of being a parent in their
Correct.
absence.
And you're so right, Mighty Soul. And it's a lot of my godchildren now. They're in their 20s, and the I was my husband and I were recently asked to be godparents to Catalin, who is my cousin's daughter. And so it's so funny because we were so honored to be asked, but then I said, "Are you sure we're kind of old now? Are you sure you don't want to like a co godparents and a little younger? You know?" But it's just a great feeling to be asked. You know.
It's the greatest honor, and I do. So I want to
Yes.
share how we met. Do you
Okay.
remember? Do you remember when we met?
It was the one person that I feel that we connected most closely with when we were together was with our dear friend Ruth. And I don't remember the exact moment when we met.
So I'm going to tell that story, and then we need to talk about Ruth. But so I
Okay.
had training for South Bay, and it was before I had started working. And so we were leaving the training, and we were at the top of the parking lot. It was like a 3-story parking structure, and you were like,
Okay.
"Hey, you're going to be the new assistant principal in the district. Let me give you the lowdown." And you were like, "Girl,"
Okay.
you were like, "Watch out for this, like,
That's
ojo to this." Like you, like, and it was so beautiful. We didn't know each other, but you saw me, and you
right.
absolutely made an effort to connect with me and also take care of me. Like, give me palabras de consejo, to advise me of like, hey, these are some landmines that you're coming into. Like, be aware. And we did not know each other.
Right, right. Well, I feel that part of at that time being an assistant principal, I know what you go through the experience of that first year, second year when you're an assistant principal, and particularly the first year. So you want to make sure that you do take care of the people that are coming up. You want to extend a helping hand and say, "Hey, let me give you some advice, consejos," or "Hey, you know what? Let me just tell you a little bit about the history of Bay or any district, right?" So I think that was really important for me to always be there as a person of service to help others when they're in that same situation as I am.
Yeah, and that, I think, the heart of service that you have, and also that heart, like, really, it's taking care of people that you have, is number one, I think, why so many people ask you to be a godparent to their child,
Mm-hmm.
but also I think why we both connected so much to the soul that is Ruth Frazier, who passed away last year, and who I know, when
Yes.
her death was so sudden for me, and I took it very, very hard. And I know that you and your family spent a lot of time with her down in Rosarito. But if you could, Marla, can you just share
Mm-hmm.
what you love so much and what you learned from her?
One of the things that I learned from Ruth was how to live life. She did
Mhm.
not let anything get in her way to enjoy the moments of life and make memories. And I remember one of the things that she always used to say to me, she goes, "When are you going to come out and play?" And
Yeah.
I love that when she said that. And when she meant by that is like for her, sunsets were important. And she was always invited to a certain part of Rosarito called La Punta at La Paloma, where we always go. And she would always have her glass of wine in hand and always talk about the importance of enjoying those moments being together. That is one of the things I take away from my friendship with Ruth. And another thing is she was for me one of the things was she was so kind to my family, very
Mhm.
giving, generous. was there for us when we visited her, and you know what, she had the best laugh. Her laugh was so joyous that you couldn't help but laugh with her. And those whys that she had, I just remember so vividly. And every time that I watch a sunset, even most recently when I was with my husband, I said, remember when Ruth taught us how to use our fingers in terms of the minutes about when the sun was going to set? And we all, my family, up to this day, my family still talks about Ruth. She was such a man, one of those human beings on earth that impact you, that you take with you in your heart every day.
I want to thank you for bringing her up, and just giving us that moment to honor her and talk about her. And I'm going to bring Cynthia in to see, I forgot to do it. There we go. Hi, Miss Cynthia. So Cynthia's been on the show before. Cynthia, I want you to give a lowdown of who you are for those people that weren't watching when you were the show.
Well, hello. Well, thank you again for having me back on. Always so great to see my very best friends. Love you both. For those of you that don't know me, I'm Cynthia Smith-Ough. I also worked with Marla and Marisol in South Bay. I'm currently a principal in San Diego. I'm also a mom of 3 beautiful children. I'm also a daughter. My mom was also watching. Hi, Mom. And also married to a great guy. He was served in the very handsome too. Served in the Marine Corps for 24 years. 23 years. He corrected me as he's walking by. My son also just joined the Marine Corps. He's actually now a private first class. So that's just a little bit about me. Love you too, Mom. There she is. So and also have just adopted 2 new cats. I love cats. I have 4 now. Don't judge.
So. First one. Did you always love cats?
No, I actually didn't. So I've evolved over my life. But you know what? I just didn't know what I was missing out on. I've always been a dog lover, and I've always loved animals. But just, I just one day just was in PetSmart buying things for the dogs, and I guess just little spaz picked me out, and I ended up walking out of the store adopting 2 cats, and now I've adopted 2 more. They've actually helped me through this pandemic, I have to say. So yes,
I love how
right on.
Like the cats are just like, what's up? Like
that's right.
Like they're predominantly not interested in you.
They're very affectionate, but a little bit like me sometimes. We need our space a little bit, like, leave me alone for a little bit, but then also like to play, So yeah.
Something I wanted to take the opportunity of having both of you on, because I want to talk just a little bit about it. And what I want to talk about is both of you as leaders, as Latina women, were phenomenal and are phenomenal leaders. And one of the things that both of you were able to do and continue to do wherever you went was you always built community with the whole community. So not just your staff, not just your students and staff, but with families, with parents. Can you talk about, because that is something that a lot of schools, a lot of leaders, a lot of systems struggle with. They struggle with really honoring and valuing and including intentionally community. So can you talk about, I think just why that's so important to you and why you make that a priority, and some of the things that you do to make sure that you're including and inviting your community into your schools?
Well, gosh, I mean, it really goes down to, trust. You have to lead with people first. You can certainly lead through policy, but where is that going to really take you? You know, you can know all the policy. You can know all about wow. You can know books in and out. You can know theory. You can know strategies. You can know all of the technical things, and you can be brilliant. You can be a genius. But it will only take you so far if you don't have trust of your people, right? And if you don't know, if people don't really know your heart and your soul and what you're about, and that you're there for their children, and if you're there for them, I think Marla can say that too. We don't have all the answers. I mean, we're people too, right? I'm a human being, and I'm a principal, and I'm not the all-knowing one, right? But what I can do is do my very best to get to do all I can, right? To get to know you and to see you. And I think Marla and I mean, I could, you know, right? What do we, and for us, right? When we feel seen, right? If we feel seen, right, then we can, and we feel cared about and valued in our profession, right? That helps us keep going and work harder. We feel appreciated, valued, right? Then we'll keep going that extra mile, right? We'll be there. And I think our community will be there for us, and will show up for us, and will put their trust in us with their children if they also feel valued and seen. And what does it take to do that? Well, it takes being visible, feeling heard. So, right, asking questions and really caring about the answer. I mean, how many times do we say, how are you doing? And do you really care about what the other person says? I mean, I think it sort of takes, but like that self-awareness piece, and checking ourselves. Are we on autopilot mode, or are we stepping back and really taking time to reflect, that reflective kind of lens, and stepping back, and how are we bringing in the community? I mean, it's a daily, minute by minute thing. I mean, I have to sometimes step back and, you know, have that conversation that I know I'm going to have a pit in my stomach and go like, yeah, you're right. You know, I could have done that a little bit better, right? Or I may need to like step back and think about that, and maybe refine that practice, or let me step back a little bit. I need to listen to the staff, or even their body language. Oh, maybe I went a little too far. Oh, that's too much. So it really is a dance, and it's a conversation. So it's part of it.
Well, and what you're saying, there's this authenticity and humanity that you're talking about. Like, be human and be vulnerable. Yeah. And so, Marla, I'm hoping that you can either expand on or share some. I don't know if you can see, but Jeanette Gles Sanchez is saying thank you, Marla Fernandez, for doing that for me, and she says hello, Marlita.
Yes. I'm sorry. Say that again. I'm cutting in and out, but can you say that again, Marisol?
Yeah, Janet Gles Sanchez.
Hello.
Says
Marisol.
Marla. So Janet, I don't know if she can see it because she's on her phone, but she's gonna watch this later.
I'm here.
Okay. So, Marla, can you talk about how you include familia community in your school, or how you would, what the things were that you did?
Okay. Particularly with families, I think it's really important. One of the things that I've learned from one of my mentors is actually one of my former principals, Jay Hollingsworth. He says, if you don't care about people, they won't care about you. I think that really struck me. Feel cared for, and they that their voice is heard. Because lots of times when we're talking about school policy and all those different things that have to do with that organization of a school, we feel that sometimes we tend to tell people what we think they need. We're not really asking, and I think that's really important. And once that you follow through with action steps about what they need, and what the school needs overall, I think that shows that you can be trusted. I think when you build all actions around trust, and that you walk the walk. So what I mean by that is that, hey, when the lady, you're going to go to the volunteer room with the parents, you're going to go, how's it going? ¿Cómo les va? ¿Cómo les fue el fin de semana? How was your weekend? All those different things do make a difference, because they want to see you as a person that has that kind of character that reaches out to them. And I think as long as you're doing that through every action that you do at school, people will trust you for that next big event that comes up, that next piece of legislation that comes up, the next piece of the school site council things that you have to do. I think all those things, when we really have those genuine conversations backed up by actionable steps, then I think that's what helped me into building trust with parents and also staff.
And I think along with that, though, what you're talking about,
and a part of that to feel is that that I learned through my go.
No, go ahead.
Go ahead.
Actually, I'm going to go, because you know what I'm going to say.
No, part of that want to. Okay, go.
What's happening here is that you have some very dominant Latina women you got on the show here, right? You got
we have a little bit of a sound delay, because Marlita's a little further south. She's closer to our motherland. She's a little further south. And
yes,
there's a delay.
Yes, I am closer to the motherland. I can show you through the window, okay? That's funny. Go ahead, Cynthia.
Well, what I was just going to add on is that, my dissertation was on how principals build trust with staff, right? And what Marla was also sharing was that competency, right, was one of the big variables there on how principals do that, is to be highly competent, right? So in addition to showing like concern and building connections, was that having like a high competency level, really being consistent, right? And having your actions match with your words really came up at those high level tiers on what staff and what principals were really saying was really what builds trust, with the community and with staff. So people want to see that they have competent leaders, that they follow through on their word, and that they're able to get the job done, right? So that they're trustworthy, right? And able to do what they're supposed to do, right? As well as trusting them to be safe, and especially imagine in these times, right? Is my child going to be safe at school? Especially, right? As we're sending our kids back, right? That they're going to be safe, and as well as safe even prior to COVID, right? Being safe in a nurturing, caring environment, safe, that my child is going to feel good about themselves and their self-esteem and who they are, that they can accomplish what they set out to accomplish, that they are safe, that our family is safe in being cared for, in every sense of the word cared for, not just physically, but mentally, emotionally, and to strive to be, everything that we say and do, not just written on a mission statement.
Yeah.
Right. So I guess that's all encompassing, right?
Well, and what Marla was saying.
Amen to that, Cynthia. And then I also
yeah.
And I also
Amen.
feel that we'll go back when we talk about follow through. I also feel that as to build that, to be trustworthy and build trust, when you make a mistake, say it's a mistake, and I'm sorry, but don't try to bullshit your way through an answer. you know, because you're just taking away from that emotional bank account. And, you know, and I think that is, and as administrators, we make mistakes, like Cynthia says, we're humans, you know, but if I think that when you say you're sorry, you say, it's almost like you go to confession, I'm sorry, I'm never going to do this again. And I think that's a full a way of also communicating how, hey, it's okay to make mistakes. And I think that served me well too as administrator. I'm sorry.
Right. And also to say, I don't know. Let me tell you, that's one phrase I think I've said 100 times this year, especially. I don't know. Because,
amen.
Certainly this school year, more than ever, there's
so
been
true, Cynthia.
an I don't know kind of year, right? It's been, I mean, things have been constantly changing, and information just being so fluid, and from one day to another, and that is hard. But to either pretend that I know something that I don't, that I think that's the worst thing you can do. I think that would be where you would absolutely lose trust. And really, research does show that is actually harder to, not that you can't ever get trust back, but that is very, very hard to do. Yeah. To then, once trust is severed and broken. So it really is better to just to be honest, right? And I think you may not have everyone happy. You know, it may cause some frustration, of course, but you will have trust and respect. No one said you will get everybody's happiness, right? But at least you be transparent, be honest all the way through, right? So
I agree, Cynthia, and I think another piece to that too is oh shoot, I lost my train of thought after you just what you just said. I was going to piggyback on you. Oh, transparency. Yeah, I feel that all of us, when when administrators, it's transparency is everything. And I think what all the school community appreciates is that when you give the why do we have to go back and do that, or why do we have to move forward in this direction? I think that the more information that you share, and it's also a learning process for us about that information as well, that collaboration can then you come to a place where you're making this collaborative decision that everyone will be invested in, and I think that's really important too.
What both of you talked about, I think that like being a human being and being authentic, and really the what you described regarding communication, consistency, transparency, vulnerability, providing information, all of that, like establishing trust, that really is like the blueprint to be a good human being, like just to be a good person, like just like as in
true
role, like if every you know, whatever the role is, as a sister, as a daughter, as a mother, as a spouse, as a partner, if we were all of those things, like this, I mean the world, like this is how we make transformation happen, right? And I think so in leadership, the qualities that you described are critical in all organizations. The difference is that in education, we have this moral obligation, and we have like there's a heightened sense of the responsibility that we have to serve in the best way possible and to guide in the best way possible. What I'm wondering, so you guys have talked about leadership, but aside from these lessons, you know, I've also learned from destructive leadership. But what I'm wondering also, what are some other lessons that you have learned, life lessons that you have learned through your careers as leaders?
That's a good one. There's so many. So many.
You can't. One of the things that I've learned is you can't lead by compliance. That only gets you a short amount of buy-in. Compliance goes. It's only a this much. This hits you this much. I also think that divisiveness is as administrators, you can't have like your own little clique. That doesn't fly. You have to have all people in the organization that are important. And I think those are two things that I know that were really important to me in terms of not what not to do, right? And I also feel that another important piece is what do you know? Like as a principal and as an assistant principal, I want to know, what do the teachers know? Like what so we can go from point A to point B to point C, because sometimes it's not just about that banking system of education, even for students and teachers, as Paulo Freire said in Pedagogy of the Pressed, but it's also about what do they know, so we can all work together. And I think that's really important to me, in terms of what not to do, as in my days as an administrator.
Yeah, I think I certainly have been the recipient of, and I know my colleagues have, of some very hurtful words. And I think of, I really think about the power of words, and how our words as leaders can truly lift people up, and how our words can also damage and have long-lasting effects on others in ways that one may never realize, and have like these long-lasting effects, right? That can really like hurt like confidence, self-esteem, and I'll speak to, that I'm a when you look at me, right, like people can see, oh, a successful, right, because when you look at, like, if you look at my resume, right, I'm a Pepperdine graduate, I'm a Bradman graduate, right, I'm 4.0 GPA, all these things. I can have all of these things on a piece of paper, okay, right? But I've had a successful principal, educator, teacher, honors, and all of these things. Yet I've had leadership over the course of my career, where words that have lifted me up to where I feel I can conquer anything, and were the words of mentors that have encouraged me to take on and take a risk, and words that then have where I've lost confidence in myself. And so I've really thought about that, and maybe those things have happened for a reason, because I've really thought about that in my own leadership. And I know that I really always want to be so mindful of any coaching conversation that I have, with a teacher, with another colleague, with a student, with a parent, that my words are there to inspire, to coach. And if it is to make a change for something, that it really is in a way that is productive, right? And not to scar, right? Because it's an abuse of power. And so I think that's the message that I want, because I think sometimes whether it's unintentional, but there's unintended consequences that come from it.
Well, and what you both described as the leaders bring people to the table and have built trust and have created these really strong spaces for all of the school community to be safe, to be brave. That is not what you're describing. So and this, as you said earlier, Cynthia, like it takes being reflective, like thinking about, and Marla, you know, like you said, like owning your stuff, owning your areas, and saying like, I don't know it all.
Own it.
And
yes.
this leadership is the opposite of that. It's the antithesis of that. And the other thing that I think one of the lessons is how important it is to, if you have destructive leadership up here, your space, whatever it is, if you're in charge of a team, if it's a school, if it's a district, you know, a district team, your job is to protect them, is to filter out that stuff so it doesn't get down to impact your staff, your students, your families. So you almost become like a filter, you know, that takes the burden of the harm, so that it doesn't impact your school community. And that's a really it's a really hard space to be in.
That is so true, Marisol, and I think and I know Cynthia and I we've talked about this at some of our debriefing meetings and when we get together. I think that's where when we talk about like self-care and caring about each other, when we get to that place where we're feeling some of the words that were used to describe some pieces of our leadership, knowing that I can turn to Cynthia or I could turn to you or any one of my colleagues that I'm close to so that we can lift each other up. I think that's really important because sometimes being an administrator is very lonely. Yeah. And sometimes you feel that who am I going to talk to? Or you might be embarrassed, or you know how you just don't want to even ask the questions or say, is anyone else going through this? But I think that the more that we have those spaces that you speak of to be able to talk about those things we're feeling, we find so many more things in common, and then we find solutions to those very things that are getting in our way sometimes, and help us to filter out, frankly, some of the BS, right? So that teachers can and students can thrive in a school. And you're right, it's on our backs, and I think that's why it's important that as administrators we do have that self-care.
Well, and that's, I wanted to start transitioning there, and I'm hoping to get to a space before our time is up today. But I wanted to transition to that because it's really, really critical that we take care of ourselves to be able to do the work that both of you are describing, right? What we're talking about. This work. What are the things that you have learned, right, to take care of yourself? And like Marla, I know that you were tired. I know that you were like, but really, like, what were the things that you have to do to take care of yourself?
When I was a principal, for me it was I like being by myself. I like having that reflective time where I'm on my own. That could be reading a book, swinging on the swing on my. I know that I need that rejuvenation time. I called it like, you know, that the relaxing time where I could just spend a day to myself, not doing anything. I need that. That's how I rejuvenated. I also read a lot. I used to read a lot. I mean, I still read, but lots of leadership books that could kind of help me in my process of reflection. Like, what do I need to move forward and to not feel that burden? And I think that helped me as well. Besides a lot of happy hours.
Yeah.
Yes, lots of happy hours. That's for sure. That's always fun.
Lots of happy hours.
Lots of happy hours, you know. And see, that's when I would have like almost an every other week, you know, having brunch or having breakfast. And so that's where this kind of year when it was a little harder to do. But I do like to bake and I like to cook. And so I would, you know, find new recipes and, you know, get to where I make little scones or things like that. But then I have to say I did get into where I wasn't doing any self-care for a while, and I was getting a little, but got back to getting my nails done. I actually went, started doing that again. Yeah, I have all my little tea sets, and I like to have like my different kind of flavored teas, and I have all different kinds of coffee pots, and I'll have a French press today, and I'm gonna have a cappuccino this morning. So I just like the aromas. I just like different kind of coffees. I like different kind of teas. I like to eat. What can I say? I like different kind of a different stone and a little butter cookie. And I'll pet my cat. Yeah, trying to get back into going out for walks. So I know I got to do that. I got try to get out once we get all back. That I would go for regular, like a massage and those kinds of things. But it is important. I'm glad you brought that up, because we're good at taking care of everybody else, and we're pretty much last. But I'll go back into doing my fashion shopping, because that's another way I like to do. So
well, there's finding that balance, right? And also because we all have, like Cynthia and I were administrators with kids that were still in school, and Marla, you became a stepmom of a young woman who was in school when you married Tom. And so it's really like that work of finding balance for our families. And what I wanted to transition into is that the three of us are very blessed to be married to really amazing partners. We have partners, the people that we chose love us tremendously, support us, are very what I've always loved about my husband, and I see it in your husbands, is how secure they are within themselves. They're good human beings, and they love us and they support us. And I was hoping we could just talk a little bit about that. And also, like Marla, you said you've been 4 years, but I would just love to hear a little bit about how you are doing in your relationships, especially during this pandemic time, right? As we're leaving it, and just give us a little bit of the love story that you share with your husbands.
That's funny. My husband's name is Tom, and he is like you said, he is very secure about himself and about any endeavor that I even want to do during the retirement. And as a matter of fact, he was encouraging me to go back and get my my doctorate. And I'm like, but I still need a break. I need to take a mental break. In terms of initially it was a little difficult, because we weren't used to being with each other, 24/7, because he also had to work from home. And that's where I needed that space to be able to kind of rejuvenate. And I think working through that as in a partnership, I think that made our marriage stronger, because we communicate a lot about our feelings and what's going on. And I think that was really important for us to flourish. So even through this really difficult time, we were able to talk a lot more about issues that came up in the communication process that perhaps would not have come up if the pandemic had not happened. So I really do feel it at the end, we really did connect in a way that made our marriage a lot stronger.
Yeah, no, I'm very, very fortunate too. My husband is Charlie. I call him Chuck, and always been supportive throughout just our entire marriage. Couldn't do any of this without him, like at all.
You've been married how long, Cynthia?
Mm-hmm. Oh my goodness, we've been married now for 25 years, but been together 30 years. So I mean, when we met, I went back to college, so I mean, it's almost like I've been always going to school, working, going back to school. So and now actually he's going back to school. So, he's, when we met, he was in the Marine Corps, and then, we've been through many deployments, and again, I was going to school, and then I went to get my master's, and then my doctorate, and all those kinds of things. And he's never, ever once complained, ever. Not once. And, and then even with the long hours, it's just been like whatever I have to do, always been very supportive, never complaining. And so, just always having my back.
Mm-hmm.
And at the same time, there's also been where I've been supportive too. I mean, with like deployments and, and whatever his hobbies or whatever, he wants to pursue and things that he wants to do. And he's going back to school, and he's always like enjoyed like theater and acting. And he's, been wanting to do that. And, he's had like a 23-year career, in the Marine Corps. And so he's doing that. And, Max is, in the Marine Corps now, and oh my gosh, has a girlfriend. That's a whole other show. But just been, so of course it's been, you just kind of like you said, Marla, too, right? Sometimes, especially when we were both, at home, and sometimes it's right, you're just trying to find a little groove here. But tomorrow we're going to go to the beach and have like a lunch, just to kind of like spend some time, together, and, have a little, like an outing, actually, because we were finding like that we're just been so busy that we're home. And even though we're in the same space, but just to be able to just connect and to talk and not to think about anything else, even if it's just for a couple hours, right? Let's just go change the scenery. But I'm very grateful, very, very grateful. And I think I'm so glad. Thank you, Marisol, for like, bringing up our husbands tonight, and to give them a little shout out, because I think, we all have to appreciate those.
Yeah, that's right.
Life. And he just turned 50. He just turned 50 on the 25th. So, happy birthday again.
Make sure to tell him happy birthday from
Well.
So,
Feliz cumpleaños.
this is, as I had shared, so this is my last. We're going to be, Dr. Anjali and I are taking a break, and we're going to be coming back. We know that we want to continue doing the show, and we'll be doing it together, but we're taking a break. So this is the last time for right now. We're going to wrap up by sharing 5 things each that we are really proud of. And they are things that we have done or have impacted, or a way that we are that we're proud of. So we're not saying like, oh, I'm so proud that my school accomplished XYZ. Like, no, like, what did you do for that accomplishment? So like really center down into celebrating ourselves and celebrating each other. So 5 things that we are really, really proud of. Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I'm really proud of the fact that that I made the right decision to retire when I at the place where I felt that I had made the significant impact on my professional life. So I'm really proud of that fact. Now, one of the things though is that I do miss kids, and I do miss having conversations and dialogue with teachers. I truly miss that, because my whole plan was to go back when I retired and volunteer, where I didn't have any responsibility. So I'm looking forward to that as well. I think I'm also proud of the fact that I feel that I honor my family. I feel that that's really important to me, is honoring my family. I'm very proud of that. I'm also really proud of the fact that I honor everything that my family has done for me in the past. And what I mean by that is that I come from very humble beginnings. My dad immigrated here from Tijuana. His dad immigrated from Spain. And so my dad, he was a forklift driver. My mom, ama de casa, housewife. And they taught me a lot of those values that helped me to be the person that I wanted to be, in life, and also in as an educator. I'm also proud of the fact that, I was able. This is so funny that I say this when I say it out loud. Is the fact that I have a successful marriage. I'm proud of that, because it's hard, and it can be difficult at times. And I'm really proud of the fact that I do have a very happy, successful, loving marriage. And lastly, I want to say that, I'm very proud of the fact that I have, long-lasting friendships, very loyal friendships, and that's what I mean that towards you, Cynthia and Marisol, and all the other people that we have been surrounded by in our lives, and also my other friendships that I have had for more than 40 years. And I'm really proud of the fact that is part of who I am, and part of that's like a stamp, on my heart. And I think one of the things that struck me too much when you talk about ancestors, for me, my dad was my hero. And so when I think about my dad and all the things that I've done in my life, um, unfortunately, he passed away, in 1999, so he wasn't able to see a lot of the things that I've accomplished. But I do feel proud of the fact that I still have conversations with him, and I honor him in that way. So that's one more thing that I'm proud of.
I love that. And you're the fourth person this week
You're gonna make me cry.
but it has taught me about continuing the relationship with our loved ones who have passed. So you have continued to be in relationship with your dad, and that is so beautiful, Marla. Thank you for sharing. Cynthia, you're 5.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you, Mark, because you helped me with. I'm going to also say that I'm very proud that I feel that I'm also a very good role model for my children. I feel very proud that, also from being a single mother at one point, with my daughters, that I feel that I'm a really great mom. And I feel that I also have a really great mom that was a great role model for me. So I'm really proud of that. I feel very proud, that I have been able to make a very stressful situation, I think, with many teachers, a little less stressful. And I feel that I've contributed to that. So I feel really proud about that. I feel really proud, with friendships that I've been able to maintain for, long periods of time with all of you. I think that those bonds are something that I cherish for forever. And I think that's these special connections, right? I feel very proud of that because that's something that is true. It's true, it's real and authentic. And I'm proud that we've been able to. That's also a part of, it's a part of me. I learned something from actually one of my leaders, the phrase Ubuntu. I am because we are, and I feel that within us, that, we are together. I'm proud. I'm proud that been able to overcome some big obstacles just throughout my life, and I'm proud of a marriage is hard, and there's been ups and downs throughout any healthy marriage, and so I'm actually proud to be in a marriage that's been able to to overcome and be real, and to be able to have open communication, and to be able to talk through problems, right? And to be real about it, right? And I'm proud of me just the way I am.
Right.
So I think that's how I'm going to end it, just like that. Not trying to look different anymore. Not trying to be any other kind of way. I'm proud of just the way I am. So, and I look pretty good too.
That's it.
That's it, right?
Bottom line.
Bottom line, right? Be happy with who you are.
Okay?
Siempre. So I'm gonna pull up some oldies but goodies, but really I'm very proud of this space. I'm so proud that this space existed during the entirety of the pandemic for people, because I know that it was something that every single guest that has come on has appreciated the space for themselves. And I know also the people that have tuned in and have viewed, it's really allowed for connection. And so I'm just so, I'm really proud that the space was able to be created. I'm also, I have to share again, like, I'm really proud that I finished that book. It took 2 years longer than I wanted it to. But the fact, and reading it, I'm like, oh, I want to add this now. I want it, but it exists exactly as it is, and it was meant to be exactly as it is. And I'm so proud that I also was able to reach out and get like these beautiful words from Pedro, talking about ceremony and the prayer of the work, and also his work in the classroom. And, there's a chapter from Anjali and a chapter from Carolyn Gary's on trauma. And so I'm really proud that it exists in this world. I'm also, I'm proud of my willingness to do my healing, to do my work, and to go into spaces that, to open doors that I have kept closed for many decades, and to be willing to open them and do the work that is needed. And I have to, go along with Cynthia on, for many years I struggled with my motherhood and feeling like, I always knew that I was doing what I knew was what I felt was the right way. But it has just, my kids are good people. They're good human beings. And they absolutely who I am as a mom. And I'm very, very proud of that. I'm proud of who they are. And I know that they are who they are because of the mother that they've had and the father that they've had. And I think lastly, I'm also proud that I'm brave. Like I left the educational system after 21 years. And because it was just like, I felt like there was more that I needed to do in this world. And it was a scary thing to do, but I did it anyway. And I think that's part of the story of my life, is I'm scared about things, but I do them anyway. And I'm proud of being that way. It doesn't make it easy. Proud of being that way. And, I just, I'm so grateful. I couldn't have planned it better for this to be the last show. And I'm thankful to both of you for being on with us tonight. So last words before we go. Última palabra.
Just be you.
Yeah.
Yeah, just be you. Yes, just be you. Just be who you are. And like you said, buddy, so be brave, be courageous. Do your thing.
Yeah. Find your thing and do it.
And surround yourself with people. Find your thing and do it.
And finish that about surrounding yourself with people, Marla. What were you going to say?
Surrounding yourself with people that will help you along the way. Saying that will uplift you. I think that's
that
really
lift important.
You up.
Yeah, I agree. So we're going to say good night. Thank you for joining us. Dr. Anjali and I will let you know when we are coming back and what the format is going to look like. Until then, know that you are loved and you are cared for always. Good night, everybody.
Good night.
Thank you, Buddy Sol.